Okay, friends, let's try changing some fractions to percentages. We'll start with 15/16, and then we'll add in 1/9. 2/3 sounds pretty good, and then just to practice, we'll do 2,112 over 5,150, and why not? 333 over 8,675,309. Okay, go ahead and hit pause on this video, change each one of these to a percentage, and then when you're ready to check, we'll do them together. Okay, we're back. All right, let's start with 15/16. I'll start by using my favorite calculator to do 15 divided by 16. Google very helpfully tells me that that is equal to 0.9375, but you have to know that that is per one. So to make it percent, we take that decimal and move it 2 places to the right. And there you have it. 15/16 is 93.75%. Next up, we had 1/9. I'm going to proceed the exact same way. Google very helpfully tells me that it is 0.1111 repeating forever, but don't worry about that. Just take that decimal point and move it 2 places to the right, and you get approximately 11.11%. Okay, friends, so you may have noticed I said that the decimal version of 1 divided by 9 is 0.11111 going on forever. And then I wrote the percentage as 11.11%. Now you may have also noticed a little squiggly equals sign that I added there. That means approximately equal to. A fraction like 1/9 does not have an exact decimal answer. It's called a non-terminating repeating decimal. You don't have to know that. So at some point you're going to have to truncate it. You're going to have to shorten it to give your final answer. Now, what do you truncate it or shorten it to? I chose 11.11. Other folks might choose just 11% or 11.1% or 11.111%. How many ones? It really depends on the situation. For those of you in the medical field, you might have a lot of precision, meaning a lot of places to the right of that decimal point. If you're doing rough carpentry, probably the whole number would be enough. So it really depends on the context. So what I'm really focusing on here is not so much that, but just the process of changing that 1/9 to its corresponding percentage. All right, next up was 2/3. Let's get it into the calculator, press enter, and we get a 0.66666666. And like 1/9, this is just sixes going on forever, so you have to decide where you're gonna cut it off. And again, it depends on context. It might be good enough to call this 67%. If you need more precision, you could call it 66.7% or even 66.67%. But they're all percentage equivalents of 2/3. Okay, let's bring in the next one, which was 2,112 over 5,150, which is simply a tribute to 2 of my favorite bands, but also intended to get us some practice with some that are not obvious. Like, you might not look at this and realize right away that it's about equal to 40%, but it is. And more importantly, if you don't know that, it's okay, because the calculation takes care of it for you. Okay, we've got one more fun one to do, and I chose this one just to get us a really, really small percentage and to make sure that when percentages are tiny, we don't freak out. So, without further ado, 333 over 8,675,309. Let's begin by converting that fraction to its decimal, and then just like before, we take that decimal point and move it 2 places to the right, which means it's about 0.00384%. Or if you just want to go to one digit, we can just call it 0.004%. Okay, real quick. Some students, when they see a percent like that, where it's 0.00 something, they get a little bit freaked out with those zeros in the front, but don't be freaked out. It makes sense, and here's why. There's the fraction we started with, 333 out of 8,675,309. We're going to do something a little bit goofy here. We don't usually do this. I'm going to get this number down to 1 in an equivalent fraction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide this number here by 333. 333 divided by 333 is 1. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing down here. I'm going to divide this also by 333. And if you divide that number by 333, it doesn't come out nice, but it's about 26,000. You should probably call that a squiggly equals. It's about equal to. So this fraction is a very, very small number. It's about equal to 1 out of 26,000. That is way less than 1 out of 100. And that's 1%. So the percent that this is equal to has to be smaller than 1%. And it is.
It's 0.00384%. So when you get percentages that are like that, when you've done the move the decimal point 2 to the right and you still have zeros, that's cool. It just means it's a really small percentage.